Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com, and this is Center Seat, my Star Trek podcast. Hello and welcome to this episode of Center Seat. Happy Star Trek Day. Today is September 8th, 2024. As I record this, it is the 58th anniversary of our favorite franchise, Star Trek. So I wanted to put out a few words about Star Trek Day and what's going on today, even though by the time you listen to this, all of this will probably be over. But anyway, I was going to talk about also some reactions to the upcoming Star Trek Lower Decks and Star Trek Section 31 projects. And then I'm going to end with a rebroadcast of a portion of a Gutters episode. And just in case that people don't listen to the Gutters or my comic book stuff, but they listen to the Star Trek stuff. So if it's a repeat, feel free to drop off. But if it's new to you, then you can listen to me and my daughter Madison talking about our visit to Ticonderoga, New York, and the Star Trek tour, where the sets were reproduced by James Cawley and company. And anyway, I had a great time. This was about a year ago that we did this, and I just wanted to share that experience with you and highly recommend, if you are a Star Trek fan and you've not gone to the Star Trek tour in Ticonderoga, you got to make the trek. Yeah, right? Okay, anyway, so let's get into it. So you can go to StarTrek.com and get all the details, but actually I found an article on Space.com, which I thought did a much better job of explaining what it is that Star Trek or Star Trek Day is all about this year. And so for Star Trek Day, they have initiated the Take the Chair, Make an Impact, a worldwide campaign urging fans to embrace the optimistic vision of a better future and deliver back to the eclectic community of fans that Star Trek has cultivated over the decades. As part of this, Star Trek has partnered with a trio of global nonprofit organizations that reflect the core values of the franchise, including Code.org, which gives K through 12 students the opportunity to learn computer science, DoSomething.org, which fuels young people to change the world, and Outright International, which advocates for LGBTIQ inclusion and equality globally. All good things. Along with that, there are some pop-up activations in 3 different cities around the world. The only one in the United States, which I feel like is kind of cheap on Star Trek's part, is in Chicago. So if you are in Chicago and unless you listen to this today, and then you go out before 7 p.m. in Chicago. Anyway, at the Taste of Chicago, this has been going on since September 6th, and you can, it features the Enterprise's Captain's Chair. And then in Berlin, Germany, at the Alexa Mall, there is a modern architectural interpretation of the Captain's Chair, crafted from sustainable materials, and that is going on today as well. Again, given the time difference, it's already done, but I'm talking about it anyway. And then at the Richmond Center in Vancouver, British Columbia, that also features the same sort of thing as in Berlin. So there you go. Those are the pop-up activation things. And then finally, for Star Trek Day, what they are doing, what Paramount is doing, is starting September 7th. It started on September 7th and will run through September 13th. They are providing what it says here, premiere episodes of various Star Trek series. And let's see, you can watch these for free on Paramount Plus's partner platforms, Amazon, Apple, and Roku, its official YouTube page, Pluto TV, and the Paramount Plus free content hub. Only in the United States for that one, I guess. Or is that all of? I don't know. Anyway, I did check it out on YouTube, and they have a whole list of, or they got all of these particular episodes already streaming. So you can, if you don't have access to Paramount Plus or whatever, or I don't know, it's all over the place, like I said. But you can watch these episodes for free. This is the lineup. They started with Star Trek, the original series, The Cage. And I have words about that, but I'll come back to that. Star Trek The Next Generation, Encounter at Farpoint, Part 1 and 2. Star Trek Voyager. Why is Star Trek Voyager listed before Deep Space Nine? Anyway, Caretaker Part 1 and 2. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, The Emissary Part 1 and 2. Star Trek Enterprise, Broken Bow Part 1 and 2. Star Trek The Animated Series, Beyond the Farthest Star. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Lower Decks, Second Contact, Star Trek Discovery, The Vulcan Hello, Star Trek Picard, Remembrance, and they're going to also provide some Star Trek short treks, The Girl Who Made the Stars, The Trouble with Edward, Ask Not, Runaway, and Ephraim and Dot. So there you go. That's the lineup. Back to The Cage. So the premiere episodes. So I know this, I'm splitting hairs here, but the premiere episode of Star Trek, the original series, was The Man Trap. However, if they wanted to do, the introduction to the series, why are they not doing Where No Man Has Gone Before, which gives us Kirk and Spock and the crew of the Enterprise in a pretty entertaining, action-oriented, and intellectually interesting episode. I kind of suspect it has to do with the fact that The Cage features Pike in the seat, but that's not right. I'm really not liking Star Trek's. I'm gonna get on my soapbox now. Star Trek's apparent pushing aside Kirk as a centerpiece of what Star Trek is all about. I get Spock, he's the interesting Vulcan, but to ignore what William Shatner contributed as Captain Kirk is just a travesty, and I really, really hate it. So anyway, get off my soapbox now. So that's what's going on for Star Trek Day, or what went on for Star Trek Day, depending on when you listen to this. But there you go. So let's talk about some new stuff that's coming out here pretty soon. First up is this is a bit of the trailer for Star Trek Lower Decks. So let's take a listen to that.
For the last 5 years, they have thrilled us with their adventures, amazed us with their discoveries, and inspired us with their courage.
So ethical.
Their ship has journeyed beyond imagination. Her name has become legend.
Wow.
Her crew, the finest ever assembled.
Don't you give me that sarcastic Vulcan salute!
We have traveled with them from one corner of the galaxy to the other.
Whoopsie.
They have been our guides, our protectors, and our friends.
Lower decks! Lower decks! Lower decks! Lower decks!
Now you are invited to join them for one last adventure.
Whoa, is he talking about us?
Yeah, we're very important.
All right.
This is our last mission.
Yeah, right. We're not done voyaging.
We aren't?
No way, man. We've hardly even cracked one quadrant yet. Come on, boys.
Mariner!
Anyway, so you can you can search and or go to StarTrek.com for that matter and find the rest of that trailer. But I didn't want to play the whole thing because it was almost 3 minutes long or something like that. But I'm very excited about this. Star Trek Lower Decks has become one of my favorite Star Trek series. I wasn't always on board with it, but it won me over very quickly. I love the characters. I love the humor. I love the Easter eggs and the callbacks, and I just really love it all. This looks to be like a lot of fun. One of the things that Lower Decks does really well is always kind of points fingers at or highlights in a loving way the tropes of Star Trek. And they're doing that in, at least in part. I don't know if it's going to be one of those season-long things that they do, but they're going to meet their future selves, in some sort of rift in space. They come across their future selves and what that all means. So, that's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And this is Star Trek Lower Decks' final season, 5th and final season, which is just a travesty. I think they could go another 5 years easily, but for whatever reason, this is it. So we get 10 episodes, 2 of which will premiere on Paramount Plus on October 24th. And then the rest of the episodes will be released weekly through December. So there's that. And then coming in 2025, at this time, there's no specific release date, but then we get Star Trek Section 31. So let's take a listen to the teaser trailer for that.
An emperor can only be loyal to duty. Thus does the empire remain strong. Thus does it grow. All hail the emperor!
Philippa Georgiou, you're a tyrant who murdered her own people by the millions. The past always catches up with you.
You're Section 31.
Okay, ladies, now let's get information.
31 is a Black Ops division. Spy work. Starfleet is here to make sure no one commits murder.
What a cute idea.
Prove to me you got some coordination.
It's gonna be bumpy and bad.
You're a bad bitch.
We can't trust you with our lives, but here we go.
Somebody's got to keep it lively, right?
Okay, ladies, now let's get information.
So, Philippa Georgiou is probably one of my favorite things about Star Trek Discovery. Anyway, so this, the very brief description of this, besides what we just listened to, this is from IMDb. Emperor Philippa Georgiou joins a secret division of Starfleet tasked with protecting the United Federation of Planets and faces the sins of her past. Ooh, that tells us a whole lot, doesn't it? Anyway, but my, while I really like Georgiou, what I get from this teaser trailer is, they seem to be focusing on the playfulness, the kind of the humor, I guess, of the character, which she does have. And, Michelle Yeoh is just delectable in the role, and she seems to be having a lot of fun with it. But I'm very concerned that this is going to be just kind of a buddy action romp in Star Trek. But I'm sure it will be entertaining. I will be watching it. I just have to decide, am I going to watch it out of turn? In other words, am I going to watch it before I finish Discovery and maybe be spoiled on something? I don't know. But I honestly, I wish they would retire the whole Section 31 stuff. It seems antithetical to what Star Trek is, but maybe that fits very well with what's going on in Discovery in the 30 whatever century they're in. So anyway, like I said, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm a little hesitant about it, I guess. So anyway, so that's it on Star Trek Day. Really, I mean, it is such a pale reflection of what we had in years past. Like, just even 2 years ago, they had a whole celebration with guests and an orchestra playing various Star Trek themes and everything. It was great. I remember I actually took the day off and watched the stuff throughout the day, and it was great. I loved it. And now I don't remember what they did last year. There wasn't much either last year. It was like suddenly in 2023, they just kind of stopped putting money into it and making it a celebration. Not to put down what they're doing for the organizations that they're urging us to be involved in and contribute to. So, that's good. That's a good thing, but which they should do anyway, regardless of what they're doing to celebrate the franchise. But I wish we could get back to some of the fanfare and celebration of Star Trek. So we'll see how it goes going into the future. But I guess that's it as far as what's going on today. And so without further ado, this is me and Maddie talking about the Star Trek tour in Ticonderoga. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Anyway, then got up the next morning and had to go to the car rental place to rent the car to drive, because this was the first part of our vacation. Our plan was to drive to Ticonderoga, New York, because, and this was for me.
Yes.
Since we were going to be there. So there is, in case people don't know, so there is a Star Trek set tour in Ticonderoga. And so this set tour was created by James Cawley and his associates. And so they did a bunch of Star Trek episodes, original Star Trek episodes, starring James Cawley as James T. Kirk, and then a bunch of other actors doing it. And these were just I'll just say amateur Star Trek episodes, written and produced almost professionally. Like you can't even almost tell if you ever watch these. And so I believe that it was originally done under Star Trek Continues. That might have been even called Star Trek Phase 2. I think it's Star Trek Continues. So if you search YouTube, you can find these videos. And I'll probably have a link in the show notes if I can find it. Anyway, I was a big fan of when I found out about these shows, and eventually, now fast forward several years, they had to stop doing them because the powers that be said, you can't do these anymore unless you pay us, and we're not allowing you to do it anyway. So, and I think there was a limit, like you can only do fan videos can only be 15 minutes or something like that, which is ridiculous, right? So they stopped. They did I don't know, I want to say 8 to 10 episodes altogether, maybe more, I don't know. Anyway, so what happened was James Cawley decided to license with Paramount and CBS or whatever. They took the sets that they built for their films, their episodes, and now people can, like we did, you can pay to tour the Star Trek sets. And these sets are you wouldn't know, Maddie, because you are not the Star Trek fan that I am, right? These sets are freaking incredible because they are accurate to, I don't know, the millimeter level. I mean, they were done to the specs of the show. They have all the props that appear, and the lighting is I'll just say just like what I remember and what I see and what you would see if you watched the original series episodes. It was a dream come true. I wanted to go see this and tour the sets for the longest time now. I don't know how many years they've been doing it. Sometimes they'll even bring actors from the television series, and not just the original series. Sometimes it's some of the newer series that actors are coming to the show. In fact, when we were originally going to do this trip, I think the week before, and we had to move it around for some other reasons, William Shatner was there. And we briefly contemplated doing like a package. You could do a photo package and whatnot with the stars that come there. This is starting to sound like a big long advertisement for the Star Trek tours, isn't it?
Yes, you're geeking out.
Well, this is nothing compared to how I reacted when I got on to the set tour, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you were paying attention to that at all, but
oh yeah, I was.
Anyway, so long story short, I highly recommend anybody who's a Star Trek fan, if you have the opportunity to go to Ticonderoga, New York, which is the weirdest place for such a thing. I was talking to the guy who did the tour, which was not James Cawley. Although we did get to see James Cawley. Do you remember the guy with the black hair? Like the big black hair?
The weird looking one.
Well, I don't know if you heard me talking about this before, but the reason he has that hair is that he is an Elvis impersonator.
Yeah.
That's his day job.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he was there helping out the front desk area and doing some stuff. And we'll talk about what happened when we came out of the tour later. Anyway, before we went on the tour, he was out there talking with the front desk people, like I said. And I kind of geeked out there because it's almost like meeting an actor from the show, because I watched him in so many episodes of those YouTube episodes. So anyway, so we get in the tour and it's just like we start walking through and our guide's talking through all this stuff and revealing things. And there was a couple times where Madison noticed things about the set and he's like, no one's ever asked me that before. No one's never noticed that before.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome. What was one of those things that you had noticed?
It was in Kirk's room. Like,
his quarters? Yeah.
You like walk in or like are walking out, but like right above the door frame, there's this like light looking panel, but it opens up and has his phaser in it.
It's not, it's a phaser, yes.
Yeah.
And so what that was a little bit of an Easter egg on the set tour people, because there's an episode in which I believe it's The Conscience of the King, where someone has put an overloaded phaser behind the red alert panel above the door, like you said, and then it's supposed to explode and kill Kirk. You noticed this. No, the rest of us it was just the two groups, the three of us, you, me, and my wife Kitra, and this other couple who was with us. So it was really nice that it was a small group. I really like that. And then of course the tour guide. And so, he gets done, he's talking, he starts going out, and then you just turned around and looked and saw that.
I saw it when I walked in, like when I was looking around. Right? Yeah, and I just pointed it out to you as we were leaving. Yeah,
as we were leaving, and I look up and I'm like, holy crap. And so and then so we, he tells the story about what I just said about the episode. And it turns out that there are other Easter eggs throughout the tour, and sometimes people point them out and sometimes they don't. Well, do you remember the other thing that you had mentioned or noticed?
Yeah, it's just one of the like kind of broken things at the very end where it had like this square cut out in the wall, and I pointed that out. I was like, what's going on with that? And it was just like some like wires or something that they needed to fix. They just haven't gotten to it yet.
Oh, in the engineering set? Oh, okay. Yeah.
But then at the very beginning when you're in the medical area, he was talking about like all the different items and like the cupboard looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about...
That's right. Yeah. There was a bunch of items in this glass case, essentially. And he asked specifically what this one thing was.
Yes.
And we're all looking at like, first I was like, I have no idea what I wasn't even sure which thing he was pointing at or talking about. But then he said something about...
said it has something to do with music.
And I immediately, my head jerked around and looked right at you, and I'm like, and I pointed at you, and I was waiting for you to say something because I figured you would know.
Yeah.
And you did?
Yes.
And what was it?
It was a trumpet or trombone mute. So
Yeah.
Yeah, they just painted it and like
and so
made it look different.
Now I really want to go. I want to go find those episodes where we're in sickbay and see that and you know, from 1966 through 69. So
yeah,
you know, it's older than I am. For the most part, definitely older than you. And so, but it's really cool that there's that connection between, you know, all those decades ago and something that so mundane as a, what'd you say, a trombone mute?
Trombone or trumpet
mute. Yeah. You know, not to mention, you know, remember he pointed out specifically the salt shakers, which are the medical instrument, you know, things like that. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway. So there's that. And then of course we got to the, you know, we tour where we start out, a corridor, and then the transporter room, sick bay, engineering.
Yeah, sick bay has 3 rooms.
Kirk's quarters, sick bay. Yeah, that's right. That's the one thing that he mentioned was like, out of all the sets, sick bay has the largest number of rooms. It's like 3 rooms, I think it was.
Yeah, it was 3 rooms.
And then the granddaddy of all. It was, so, you know, he leads us to the turbo lift set, I'll just say. And then he opens up the doors, and I swear to God, Madison, I heard angels singing when we stepped onto the bridge of the Enterprise. And I am not embarrassed to say, I just about cried.
Yeah.
Because as I post, I already posted this on social media, the picture of me sitting in, because I got to sit in the captain's chair, and I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like when I posted this, I'm like, life goal achieved, and it is. I know it sounds ridiculous, right? Being able to sit in the captain's chair on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. It was akin to a religious experience for me. I swear to God. I know Madison's looking. She's nodding, but she's going, I don't know about this guy. But you know, you got to sit in it too.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's step back for a second. What were you thinking when we started that tour, and you're seeing all this stuff that you really don't have much of a experience with or context for, except you know how much of a fan I am of Star Trek.
Yeah,
right?
I know that you're a huge fan, and I've watched a couple episodes from all these different Star Trek shows with you,
mm-hmm.
but I did recognize everything. In a way,
mm-hmm.
It was obvious what room was what, but I just thought it was pretty cool though too, because I really like any kind of set design, movies, shows, Broadway shows too. It's that kind of stuff. I love it.
Yeah, I figured you appreciate it from that level.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Okay, so what did you think about how much I don't know, did you notice how much I was geeking out?
Yes, I've noticed.
Especially at the end when we got to the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of...
Yeah, what was your reaction to that? What did you think about that situation?
Yeah, I think I was kind of just not surprised at all. I was expecting it. But I think I was more focused on looking around, trying to figure out all the different parts of the sets.
Yeah.
And see everything.
Yeah.
And so I was being more observant to everything that was in each room than to you.
My wish is that you fall in love with Star Trek like you have comic books, and you start watching the original series with me, because I'm going to do a rewatch for the Center Seat shows, and then you can have that direct connection now because you've toured the sets. And then you could get to see some of the props and see the sets in context of the show. So that would be really cool if you ever were interested in that. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, because I watched newer Star Trek, but some of the older stuff I've seen a little bit of. It's not bad, but I'm much.
Don't do it.
Don't
say it.
I'm just talking CGI, man. It's. What I'm used to versus what you used to watch is so different. So getting used to watching that is a bit
I also have to remember the original series, the original effects. There was no CGI. That wasn't a thing back then.
Yeah, I watched The Black Hole. I think I would know.
There was no CGI back then either.
I know it was really bad.
All right. Anyway. Okay. So we did that. And then we get done with the tour. I've had my religious experience. I've ascended to heaven and now have to come back down to earth. As we exit, what's happening in the showroom?
They got tribbles. I was so happy. My tribbles over there. I'll grab him.
Yeah, grab that. So, okay, yeah. So we come out and James Cawley himself, along with the rest of the staff that's out there, are unloading this big box of these furry things. And they had just gotten in a shipment of tribbles, of these little plush toy things.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay.
One time.
Let me
you have
turn
to
it on first.
Okay, anyway, so Madison had to have, first of all, you have to know this about Madison. She has this huge collection of stuffed animals. And we're actually recording in her room because my office is a mess and I don't have room for this. And so she likes stuffed animals, and so she has a tribble.
It's my army. It's not a collection, it's an army.
So she's messing with it. Anyway, so she's going to, here in a second, she's going to.
Wait.
All right, turn it off.
Wait, you gotta hear the second noise. And that's my tribble.
Yeah, and so she obviously, I got her a triple. So
yes, because my favorite episode is Trouble with Tribbles.
Because that was one of the 3 that I showed you in advance of going to Star Trek: The Motion Picture, right?
Yes, but I've seen it before that too. Because you were like watching at some point, and I saw it.
Just a random watch of it, yeah. Okay.
Yes, and so since I've seen that one episode, I have wanted a tribble for the longest time, and I finally got it.
So before we move off the topic of the Star Trek tour, having been on the tour now and seeing the sets and the props and the history behind it, does it make you interested in the original series at all, any more than you were before?
I don't think very much, but
you're killing me, Smalls.
I've heard that enough. I think with me, it's more of just like if I was to watch it, I would just care way more about like still the set and what's going on, other than like what the actors are doing. I don't care about that as much.
That's what I was wondering, is if we happen to let's go watch Trouble with Tribbles again, and you get to see the sets and see, and maybe that connection there makes you more interested in the show. Anyway, that'd be really cool. What was it? There was one more thing about that tour that I wanted to say.
For how many things Will Shatner broke?
Oh. Yeah, there was some lovely stories about William Shatner and breaking some stuff on the set that the guy had mentioned, but no, it was the being in the sets. And I said this there. Do you remember? I made a comment about the size of the sets. I asked the guide specifically, these are to the specs of the original series sets, and he said yes. And I said it's astonishing because the rooms are so small.
Yeah. And
those sets do not, when you watch the show, they don't necessarily look that small. And a lot of it has to do with the way that, they shoot it, the angles they shoot it and whatnot. It makes it look bigger. It's just TV magic kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I feel like my room's bigger than some of those rooms.
Yes, I think your room is actually bigger than all of those sets.
Yeah. Except for the bridge.
It's pretty close.
I was gonna say.
No, you're probably right. The bridge and maybe the engineering. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we had a great time there. As we left, there's this kind of low end shuttlecraft for picture taking that we did. And remember, we got in that shuttlecraft and at the end. And so we did that. And then so anything else you want to say about the Star Trek tour?
I don't think so, but I did really like the all like the props and costumes in the main room.
I didn't even the showroom or the entrance. They actually have, while you're waiting, There's merchandise that you can buy. There's also a bunch of props and costumes, like you said, that are on display. And so, and of course, the giant USS Enterprise that's hanging from the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
Which was like the centerpiece of it all. Oh my God, that was amazing.
And then the 2 wax figures.
Which wax figures were
It
those?
was Spock and Kirk.
Oh, in the entrance. Yeah,
Yeah.
The foyer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Anyway, so, so that was Star Trek Tours in Ticonderoga.